Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another Echoes of Mana video, and I think it's finally time to begin my full character review / grading series for Echoes of Mana. There are now several characters in the game that I've gotten to play with in auto and manual enough to review them, give them grades, the teacher in me coming out, giving out some grade cards here, and give you a guide on like memory gems, gear, teammates, like who to pair them with in a support team if you want to maximize their potential. I think I'm ready to start doing these videos, and I'm definitely ready to start with Riesz. So I mentioned grades. Let's make Riesz's report card really big here for a second, and we're going to start with manual play. Like I said, for every one of these reviews, I'm going to review both manual and auto. And for Riesz, in manual, I'm going to first grade her damage, and I think her damage grades out at an A. She has a very high strength score. She's very good at building a combo with herself. You can see I give her combo grade an A+, and she builds that chain, does a lot of damage. Her special technique hits the entire screen when she dashes. That's really, really good for clearing out some content. She's good against bosses. She's good against, random ads when you're farming. Her damage and her combo skill are top tier, so I'm giving her an A in damage and an A+ in combo. Now, survivability. This is where that skill level starts to come in for manual play. Riesz's survivability is all about learning a boss's rotation of skills, what their tells are, dodging AoEs, and while she's surviving, taking advantage of the fact that you can use her basic attack and her dodge that spins the spear to keep chains going while dodging around enemy big attacks. Also, her base constitution and base spirit are pretty high at 675 and 640 respectively, so for survivability, I give her a B+. Not like tank level, not up there with some of your beefier dudes in the game, but very, very nice. And she gets bonus points for being good against both physical and magic teams, so a B+ in survivability. Now, her worst grade in manual is definitely her support grade. She really doesn't offer a lot. Yes, if you pair her up with another teammate, and that teammate uses a special technique, their skill damage gets a buff for a while. And while that's cool and has staying power in the game, it's not a lot, right? She just has that, and if you don't have a 6-man team where you're swapping people around, it's really not any good at all. So I'm going to give her support a D+. She doesn't heal, she really only buffs herself, so not a whole lot going on there. As far as skill level in manual goes, I'm going to give her a medium-high skill grade. Really with Riesz, what you need to do in manual play is learn the rotation of bosses' skills, get really good at knowing when to drop your special technique, when you can get away with using your multi-pierce attack, and when you need to be auto-attacking and dodging around, clipping the bosses with your spinning spear to keep your combos going. Now, let's switch over to her grade in auto. Okay, her damage does fall off a little bit in auto. I'm going to drop it from an A to an A-. There's a couple reasons here. One, you no longer can use your Mega Spirit Magic summons, and that's going to happen to everybody, right? You're always going to lose that, so I'm not going to hold that against any specific character too hard. But you don't do damage when you're laying on the ground, and Riesz does have a tendency on autoplay to get crowd controlled by bosses. The AI is actually pretty decent at spamming her skill, using her special technique, and it still hits the whole screen. She still does a ton of damage on auto, but when you're laying on your back or you're asleep, you do no damage. So I do have to drop her damage score a little bit, but not even into the B. I think it's still A-. For auto, her damage is very high. Her survivability drops an entire letter grade though. I'm going to take it all the way down to a C+ in auto. Look, she's a melee PvP unit. That con and spirit will help her survive, but you really need some good gear to be able to farm high level content with Riesz on auto. The AI is just no good at getting out of big scary red circle on the ground, right? We need to install deadly boss mods or something to keep the AI alive in this game, so I just have to give her a C+ in survivability. It would be lower if she didn't have good base stats. Riesz's base defensive stats really help her out a lot. And as I'll talk about later when I'm talking about gear, you can gear her differently for auto combat, and her survivability could go up. Overall, I can't give her higher than a C+ though. And then support, just F. She has actually no support as an auto unit. She doesn't do anything for anybody else. The AI is not going to swap her into the backup role where her new ally can take advantage of her support skill. So she just gets an F on support in auto. Overall, though, I think Riesz scores out pretty well. She's meant to do damage, her damage numbers are very good, and as a melee unit, she has a lot of survivability. Okay, let's kick it over to the game now, and I want to go next into talking about memory gems. So which memory gems are your best memory gems to run on Riesz? And I'm going to run this screen off of by far and away her best in slot memory gem, which is Aim for Wind Acorns. This is the one that just came out. You can see that the Aegis skill is on wind attack, normal attack, and skill damage plus 20%. It goes up from there if you can get the duplicates up to a 30%. Like, this is so big for her because in a boss fight in particular, you are really taking advantage of a lot of auto attacks and a lot of your skills. They're both wind attacks, so that's a just flat damage increase over the duration of a boss fight, and it also helps you like kill regular mobs too. It's an amazing card for Riesz. Note as well, main stats on this are strength and HP, so more damage, more survivability. I would have liked to seen some luck on this, but this is a card that I'm going to take the current banner to pity just to get at least one dupe on the pity and hopefully catch another one along the way. Now, there are other cards that are good for Riesz, and I'm going to start putting those on the screen. The other 4-star card that I think is really, really good for Riesz is Sword from Above. Skill damage is a huge chunk of your damage on Riesz, especially again in those high-level boss fights. The skill damage increase from Sword from Above probably was her best in slot card until Aim for Wind Acorns came out, so if you have that card, feel good about using that on Riesz. For 3-star cards, I like a Branch Bestowed, which is just like a damage buff for her, and I like Mech Rider on Riesz as well, so for 3-star cards, those are some decent options. And then she also has good 2-star options, honestly, like really good 2-star options. Pelican for that skill damage up, like you probably have Pelican and you probably have dupes of Pelican if you've pulled it all. Don't feel bad about running that on Riesz. I think it's pretty good for her. And then Sea Moon. Sea Moon. Damage reduction. This is a particularly good card for auto, right? And like anytime I recommend a damage reduction card, I'm really talking about on auto right here. As a melee DPS unit, again, you do 0 DPS if you're dead. So giving flat damage reduction is a nice little, it increases your DPS by allowing you to do DPS longer in a fight. I think a lot of people sleep on those damage reduction cards. So those are I keep calling them cards. Those are the memory gems. They're cards. They even like look like cards, whatever, they're cards. Those are the cards, aka memory gems, that I suggest running on Riesz. Now next, let's talk about gear. And to do this, I'm going to just jump into my gear area here. And I definitely don't have like the optimal gear because farming gear in this game takes a long time. So I'm going to focus on sets and then what I think you should be looking for in the like stats and substats. So for Riesz, I think her best in slot like armor set, right? That left side is going to be the strength set, the Valsena armor. Strength is her main damage stat. She's a damage dealer. Giving that plus 18% will really help her out a lot. Now, what should you look for over here in these like bonus stat areas and main stat areas? I think you want to look for luck and strength. If you're going DPS, especially if you're playing on manual, luck and strength are going to be your best friends. Luck helps you crit, which like doubles your damage. Strength will boost that damage up, so luck and strength are what you should look for. If you're running her in auto, look for more of the tanky stats. Constitution, Spirit, HP. Don't feel bad about scoring those. And if you get a piece of gear, like, main stat Spirit right here, nothing I can do about that. But when I rolled Con, Spirit, Strength, and HP, all as a percentage buff, I really like this set on any melee DPS unit. This is a very good piece of gear for Riesz and a very good piece of gear to transfer over to a Duran or another melee unit later. So I go strength set for Riesz in both auto and manual, honestly. If you wanted to go constitution set in manual, I'd listen to that. If you're just going more survivability, not the worst thing there. Then for her other side, for her like accessory side with boots and rings and stuff, I like the HP set. Again, this is just more survivability, more health. And then I like the Spirit. Again, look for survivability over here. HP's easier to get in the game right now, I think, so easier to farm. I like that, especially as a 4-star set. The HP, like, okay, here's the thing with the HP set, right? Who's it bad on? Who's the HP set bad on? If you build an HP set for Riesz and later something else comes out in the game and you're like, oh my gosh, they have a luck set or something crazy like that, you can very easily take that HP set and move it to a different unit. Everybody likes HP, so especially right now in the game, I like HP on Riesz. I also wrote down that Spirit would be a good option, and I think on both auto or manual, you will get a lot of use out of that. Again, look on those bonus stats for rolling Strength, Luck, or your tanky stats as a melee DPS unit. Those are what I like. Now, let's talk about partners. Like, if you're building a team and you want that buff for Riesz from your subslot, like if you're not trying to, let me go into the allies section here, actually. If you're not going for like a farming team where you're just leveling up like fodder to use as ascension material, but you want an actual best party member for Riesz, well, let me show you what I'm talking about here. What you want to do is come in here, select none, so clear your filter, right? Then click 3 stars, click wind, and here's where you're going to find your best partners for Riesz. Click filter, and here we go. It's Prim. And we already have Prim, by the way. You've been given Prim, and you've been given Prim fully unleashed, which means she provides this buff. She provides 8% strength to herself and paired ally. You guys, it's free, right? This is one of the reasons why Riesz is so good right now, is because her, like, one of her best in slot. This is probably her second best in slot. Any 3-star that provides this 8% strength buff is really, really nice for Riesz. The benefit of it also being a wind unit is you get that percentage thing on the team building screen, which helps you build up your special technique gauge faster. So I really like Prim. Now, I want to mention as well, though, that Keldric has come out, and I do have a Keldric. So let me show you Keldric's. If you are lucky enough, right? And I understand this is not a ton of people. If you are lucky enough to have a Keldric, he is a very, very good partner for Riesz, but he's somebody that not a lot of people are working on. Keldric gives a really strong, gosh dang it, loading screens. Here he is. Here's Keldric. He gives a really strong buff to himself and allies. Let's look at it right here. Self and paired ally, win combo plus 30, strength plus 6 continuous. Now, here's the thing with Keldric. This will go up, right? And it'll be on par with the 3-star. But you have to have a combo plus 30. The benefit to running Keldric is that you get to bring Keldric in if you ever swap them. So that is nice. But really what you're looking for, when you're looking for that partner, it's going to be those 3-star characters that you have fully unleashed to unlock their plus 8% strength buff right here. Okay, there we go. This was my first ever time. Yeah, so there you go. Any of the 3-stars, by the way. I know I showed you Prim because it was specifically for Riesz. Prim's specifically good, but any of the 3-stars that you fully unleashed will do the job. Okay, that's the video, guys. This is my first ever video in this format. Let me know how you felt about like the grade card. Is there something else you'd like to see added on there? Is there something that I missed talking about that you'd like to see in these future review videos? And just general comments on this format. I'm definitely planning on doing one for Duran and Angela very soon, as they're my second 2 most played units. And then I'm working on the rest of these. But man, you guys, Elemental Awakening materials in this game, they're still tight. I can't wait for that buff where we can actually, you know, trade them for more. Can't wait. All right. I'll catch you all next time. Have a great day. Peace.